to my private music studio here in New Jersey. With my birthday fast approaching, I thought it would be interesting, a different way to celebrate my birthday this year, by presenting some music that I've been working on during this pandemic, this horrible coronavirus pandemic. And it is always my prayer, and I'm sure it is yours, that the scientists someday find a workable approach to controlling this horrible virus. Well, as my wife and I have been quarantined here in our home in New Jersey, I thought it would be fun to share some music with you, some music that I've been working on for the past several months. So it's my pleasure to do so today. The first selection I'm going to be playing is a favorite of mine. It's a Bach piece. It's the Great Fugue in G major, BWV 541B, written by Johann Sebastian Bach. This piece I first heard when I was in high school growing up in Holy Innocents Church in Brooklyn, and Mr. Michael Green played it quite frequently, and I always loved it. Well, during this pandemic, and actually a little earlier, before the pandemic, I started to learn it. So I'm very happy to present this fugue to you here on this Rogers 330 electronic organ. So this will be my first piece today, the BWV 541B, the Great Fugue in G major by Bach. Please enjoy. The next selection is probably the piece that got me interested in organ in the first place. Also by Bach, it's the Little Fugue in G minor, BWV 578. I first loved this piece when I heard E. Powell Biggs record this back in the 60s on Bach Organ Favorites, volume number 3. It is what I call the quintessential Bach fugue. So here is the Little Fugue in G minor by Bach. next piece is a selection, a French selection, that I performed live at the rededication of the E.M. Skinner Opus 390 pipe organ at Holy Innocents back in 2005. It is Berceuse by Louis Vierne. It is one of the pieces of the 24 pieces in freestyle that Vierne has written. It's a very interesting, soft piece, and I wanted to learn it for that occasion because, as I understood in the Dorothy Holden book on the life of Ernest Skinner, that it was performed at his funeral in 1960. So here is Berceuse by Louis Vierne. And now moving ahead, another favorite of mine is a beautiful piece called Rossamedre, named after a Welsh town. It's by Ralph Vaughan Williams. The melody is by Edwards. It's what I call a deceptively difficult piece. When I first looked at it as an organist, I thought, well, it's really not that difficult. I should be able to pick it up quickly. Well, it's got all kinds of little innuendos in the piece that kind of make it difficult, but it's a beautiful piece. And if you listen to the left hand will be tapping out the melody by Edwards. It's a gorgeous piece, and it was also played at Princess Diana's funeral in England, as well as William and Kate's wedding, also in Westminster Abbey. So here is Rosso Midre by Ralph Vaughan Williams. it's time to return to Bach, a favorite and one very, very well known by Bach. Comes from the Das Orgelbeichlein little organ book. It's BWV 615, In dir ist Freude, which means in thee is joy or in thee is gladness. It's a gorgeous piece, a joyful piece, one that you would hear on New Year's or Christmas or Easter, a very up-tempo piece by Bach. So here is the well-known In dir ist Freude, in thee is gladness. To some service pieces. One of the pieces I learned recently, and it's one that I heard back in college, is the Glory to God in the Highest. And this particular setting is by the Welsh composer William Matthias, who's probably best well known for his fanfare piece in D major. The William Matthias Glory is very frequently heard in Episcopal churches. The version that I'm playing utilizes the old words, the words that we used to use in the Roman Catholic liturgy, and I thought very often about perhaps adapting those new words to this Gloria, but this is one that the choir, for instance my choir, the Sacred Sounds of Brooklyn, could certainly sing after communion as a meditation piece. This piece is also, I'm using the services without permission from singer Amy Broadbent of Washington National Cathedral. I have her on tape singing this, so as she sings it, I'm going to accompany her on this organ, and here is the Gloria by William Matthias. And as I usually like to present at the beginning of a concert, especially with the choir, or certainly at the end, a little prayer. So I conclude this organ recital with the well-known Lord's Prayer, the plain song version. I'm going to sing that as I play it. I've done this at Masses many, many times, and it's my prayer for all of you during this coronavirus problem, that the scientists figure out how to develop a vaccine, and with everything that's going on in the world right now, we certainly need a lot of prayer. So it's my pleasure to conclude this afternoon's program with the singing of the plain song, Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And that concludes my program for today. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this musical journey. Several composers and some selections that one can use in Mass. And I hope you have a very pleasant summer, and I hope to see you at some future service or future event with my choir, the Sacred Sounds of Brooklyn. So thanks for being with me today. My name is Cresci. Thanks for being with us, and I'll see you in church.